You are not prepared for things to go purple, yo! Hey there, welcome back to our channel, and let's talk about a very super possible, not at all fake or wishful thinking at all, the third spec for Demon Hunters that has been leaked. A third spec for Demon Hunters, you say? Finally? Is it my birthday? No, hypothetical conversational partner that 100% isn't projected by my
Imagination lost after the reveal of 11.2?
But if it is, happy birthday. We also have good news. You might be getting a third spec if you're a Demon Hunter. What am I talking about though? Clearly not about our stream where I played the game one-handed with the one-button rotation and kicking ass BTW. Head on over to twitch.tv/Marcelian and join the bandwagon of people telling me it's time to play BM Hunter with one hand. Patch 11.2 has just been announced the other day with all its glory and goods and some peculiar little reveals. Like, I don't know, this one? Wait, you don't see it? Look closer. Keep looking. Yes. Look at this guy. Looks like a Havoc Demon Hunter, right? All glaived up and ready for action. And also this guy, a Vengeance, of course, because of the Eldrachi glaives and the bulkier armor, clearly. Brother looks like he could tank Dimensius. But wait, did you see that? That right there, in the middle. What is that? It's blue. No, it's purple. It's an ethereal. It's a plane. It's the Void Demon Hunter. Oh, you don't think so? Well then, how about this very convincing side picture of a monitor that shows the third Demon Hunter spec suspiciously taken with Grandma's phone in 2025? Well, if this didn't convince you, you are correct. Leaks like this will always happen because of one reason and one reason alone. They are super fun. But maybe there's a second, less intuitive reason. It gets people talking by putting the idea on the table. And it's not like it came out of nowhere. The Blizzard team that handled the B-roll for this webcast clearly knew what they were doing. I think there are 4 reasons why they chose to show 3 obviously different Demon Hunters, 2 of them clearly representing each spec of the class, with a third geared in the garb of the new patch, ostentatiously placed in the middle as if to also represent something. But what? Well, the balanced approach is to consider the most obvious thing that everyone wants to ignore. There's apparently a separate Demon Hunter faction here that traversed the Void, and from what I understand, it will be hostile towards us. Now, the credibility of a portion of the Illidari somehow finding their way to the Ethereals after Legion is a little bit shaky. But we have had Undead Paladins justified in the lore, so wouldn't put it past anyone's attempt to explain it. That would be boring though, because if it's an enemy, or simply a separate faction, why show it together with the other 2 in what clearly looks like to be a battle-ready formation where they each cover each other's side? So, not convinced yet. The second thing that it could be, which is actually the real thing that it is a boss fight in the new raid, and once again, that doesn't actually invalidate any of the other points talked about here, because once again, it's 3 Demon Hunters shown in a very ostentatiously way, where each are supposed to represent a spec that the Demon Hunter has, except Demon Hunter doesn't have 3 specs, but yet here we are with a third Void Abyssal type Demon Hunter there. Not intended for a third Demon Hunter spec, but potentially to instigate one in the future. The third reason why this is here is them actually testing the waters. I think it's very plausible that someone at the office there said, "Man, Demon Hunter's still rocking only 2 specs, huh? Should we think of another one?" And someone likely replied, "Yeah, but we have to be careful. People are really attached to the fantasy of the class, and we just cannot and shouldn't ruin it." Let's see how they respond to a little tease. Put like some Void gear on one of them and see how they react. I bet they'll leak like a sideways slanted picture of a blurry monitor screen with a Void Demon Hunter spec using a cringy name like, I don't know, Entropy, and say it uses 2-handed weapons even though we clearly show it with 2 Warglaives in our cinematic. If they respond positively, we can start considering it for Midnight, or maybe Last Titan. Maybe a stretch, but to be fair, if they haven't already decided it will be in Midnight, it probably won't be in Midnight at all. Let me remind you that they started working on Midnight over a year ago. But sure, I can definitely see them putting it in last minute as a desperate attempt to salvage some sort of goodwill points that they lost due to the disastrous release of Season 1. And you have to admit, it would look sick on the cover of the box art for Midnight. If that's the case, personally, I'm a little sad since I was hoping for more than just one spec. WoW is coming up on a lot of years each new year, and more WoW loyal gamers trail off into the distance of dads with socks and sandals on, no longer raiding, forever to be lost into the forgotten side of Azeroth. We need to get all those Warcraft classes and races that we wanted for 20 years in before everybody becomes unable to play Red Paladin anymore. So now we get to the last reason they are showing this, which is indeed a hint at the new spec for Demon Hunters. Demon Hunters having two specs, first of all, makes sense for the class since even Vengeance felt a bit out of left field when it was introduced. Not because it was done so poorly or it isn't cool, but the fantasy of the class was weaker than most would like to admit, so there wasn't a lot of sauce on to be justified for a tanking Demon Hunter spec. Thankfully, they made it work, make sense, and made cool, and we lived happily ever after with a unique and now iconic tank spec. But still, there is only two, and god damn it, even Evokers, the Tutti Frutti Hubba Bubba class of World of Warcraft came with two specs and got a third in the end. Initially, we thought, yeah, of course Evoker has two specs. My DH is still sitting on two without a third in sight, so why would you have more? Imagine the faces of main Demon Hunter players when they saw the AUG reveal and had to go back home to their budget Temu class with two specs. At this point, the only real non-molding argument is that it can get boring. Third spec would add more fantasy, more flavor, more options to explore designs of the class, and of course the only question left is, what should that be? Let me answer that for you with a little story. I'm a geek, surprise. I main Demon Hunter and Legion the second it got released. I actually made it in the WoD pre-patch when it had 2 talent points and enjoyed every second of it. Playing through the intro story where Illidan has been training us to assault Legion homeworlds right when Black Temple starts to get raided by 2007 gamers was peak retroactive redemption story. Then we start the Legion story by being recruited and sent off into the battle that we were made for. Killing demons and stopping Sargeras, which we did, and that was a very pivotal moment for the justification of demon hunters within the lore. What do we do now that there are no more demons to hunt? And I don't mean the occasional lost dreadlord. Story-wise, the chapter of the demon hunters should have been closed, or at the very least turned into the janitors of the universe, where we just go to every remaining demon world and free it or cleanse it of the legion. But we went on to fight tentacles a bunch of times, Big Nipple Daddy and his rambunctious pyromaniac daughter, saved some dragons, killed some more, and now we are here, still not really fulfilling our purpose. So it only makes sense that now, in the final battle of the bigger war that even Sargeras wanted to prevent, in proper Illidari fashion, we take our enemy's power and make it our own, becoming Void Demon Hunters, or Void Hunters, or maybe Entropy Demon Hunters. Lore-wise, it would be what I would do if I was a Demon Hunter myself, because there is only so much more dwarf and goblin shit I can shovel in their cities before I'd wanna burn them all. Of course, even if it makes sense in the lore, it doesn't mean we would get it, but we could. Because as much as you hate Evoker for getting a third spec before you did, Augmentation set a precedent of a spec being released not only in a mid-patch, but in the middle of a mid-patch. Granted, Augmentation was planned from the beginning, which doesn't mean Void Demon Hunter wasn't. It could spice up the game in a big way that's very much needed. Assuming we get it, and maybe even giving this leak a bit of credibility, having a two-handed weapon with new melee animations and interactions sounds dope. What would even be the metamorphosis though? Like a Void Walker themed monstrosity? Sign me up! Instead of Fell Rush, we could have phase shifting where we dive through reality in and out and blink like mages do, or Void Elves. They could focus the Void Hunter into an actual Hunter of the Void by using aberrations and minions of old gods as food for buffs. On top of this, the game needs more melee DPS that can balance out the range domination we have been seeing. And most of all, silencing those Demon Hunter range DPS or healer voices that are clearly Dementius corrupting the weak-willed. And if your argument is something like, bro, they don't do stuff like this in the middle of an expansion, This is full expansion feature that they would have to advertise for so that the new expansion sells big. And to that I would say, it used to be that way, but not anymore. WoW cannot abide by its standard conventions anymore. It's a dying game and we are kind of reaching the end point with the World Soul Saga for one. There's only so much time left to explore so many of its aspects. The second thing is, they cannot afford to follow the same formula anymore, and they are not. Releasing an expansion with 4 new raids, recently 3, and 9 new dungeons and rotate them has been done for years now. That's why Dragonflight actually did it different, where it added a spec midway through. That's why in Dragonflight, but also War Within, we radically changed Mythic Plus almost every season. Remember, there used to be weekly affixes, Sanguine, Necrotic, Bolstering, and Bursting. Remember those? Remember seasonal affixes? Remember not having tier sets or the Catalyst? WoW changed in ways thought to be unlike itself, so I cannot see any argument that supports the pre-existing formula as anything but baseless. We need difference. We need more. We need a Void Demon Hunter, and clearly the only way to show it is by smashing that like button and watching this video. I'm supposed to show a thumbs up. This is so cringe. I cannot twist my hand. This is a thumbs up. Like the video if you like it. If not, you don't have to like this video. But you do have to watch our video on all of the tier set bonuses right here. It's big because in Season 3 we get a bonus for each hero talent. Yeah, you heard me.